Hi everyone, welcome to Fixing Boats and Stuff. Today we are working on a Mercury 3.5 horsepower 4-stroke outboard. I'm going to clean the carburetor today. It has not been running all that great, especially at low speeds, having a hard time starting. So I'm thinking the carburetor needs to be cleaned. So here we go. First thing we do, of course, take off the hood. And the carburetor is right here. To get to it, we're going to take off this gas tank. I'm going to make sure the gas tank is closed right now, so it is closed. We're not going to disconnect the fuel line. We're just going to remove the tank. That's going to allow us to get better access to the carburetor. So I need a 10 millimeter socket for this. A lot of the engine is 10 millimeter. So we got 3 bolts on top here. The second one's over here. Third one is in the back. Fuel tank and the bracket just kind of pops out of the way. And now we have full access to the carburetor. It's attached by 2 bolts, one here and one there. We shall start taking off. This is the breather line. Take that off. Once we get it off, then we'll be able to take the linkages off. This is the throttle linkage. This is the choke linkage. So again, I think it's going to be 10 millimeter. Yep, 10 millimeter. Loosen that, and the bolt goes all the way through to the back of the carburetor. Similar to the carburetor in a Honda lawnmower. Alright, this whole thing should pop off now. There's a little, there are 2 tubes that go down through the bottom of the engine. I'm going to pop those out. So there's one, there's another one. Let's come out. I'm going to get the choke linkage off first, actually. Take off both these bolts. And that'll allow me to remove the choke linkage. Twist it up like that. Goes right in that little hole in that arm. And there's 2 spacers that go in there. One there and one here. I just dropped one, so I'll fish that out. Now I should be able to take the throttle linkage off. But first I'm going to take off the fuel line. That's going to give me some greater flexibility here with. Okay, let's see if we can't twist this off. Yeah, that came off easy. All right, that comes off. Now we should be able to take the throttle linkage off. Yep, there we go. All right, the gasket fell off, so there's one of the gasket. There's a gasket here on this manifold. Then there is this piece fell down. This piece goes here, and then the gasket goes on top of it. So it's a sandwich of gasket, spacer, and another gasket. Carburetor's off. All right, so here is the carburetor. First thing we're going to do is take the bowl off. So that's either a Phillips head or a straight screwdriver. So we're going to take the bowl off. There shouldn't be much fuel in here because I drained it recently. Let's see what's in there. So we get 2 screws here, bolts in the corner. Each one has a washer. Yeah, this almost looks like there's no fuel in there. See in a second. Yep, no fuel. All right, good. That's empty. The bowl looks pretty clean. So the regular screwdriver, take out this drain. If there were fuel in here, this is where you could actually drain the fuel without taking the carburetor off. There's nothing special about it. It's just basically a plug. There's a little rubber gasket on it there, but there's nothing in there. So that looks pretty clean. A little bit of crud in there. I'll shoot some carb cleaner in there later, clean up anything that's in there. One thing you want to be careful with when you're cleaning carburetors is carb cleaner will take these gaskets and make them swell. So if you take this gasket off, you don't want to soak it in carb cleaner because it'll swell, it won't fit anymore. So I'm going to be careful with that. Okay, so we'll put that aside. Now, here is the float, and attached to the float is a little needle valve. We're going to take this off. There's a pin here that connects the float to the carburetor. See if we can pull out this pin. Let's see if we give it a little whack with a hammer. Yep, it's moving. Nail set. Let's see if I can use that to punch out this pin. Yep, it's coming. There we go. The pin is out. Take off the float. There is the needle valve right there. Looks pretty good. I'm going to leave that on there, not even take it off. And this is one of the areas we want to clean with the carb cleaner in there. Make sure that's a safe passage, because that's where fuel is going to enter the carburetor from the fuel tank. This is the main jet here. Let's take this off. If there's ever a blockage in there, it's a little tiny hole, so if there's ever a blockage in there, fuel's not going to flow and the engine's not going to run correctly. You want to be careful with these because they are made of soft metal and they easily get damaged, so make sure the screwdriver fits in there perfectly, and there we go. Just coming out. So there's a little hole in there which we'll clean in a second, and then we got to get this nozzle out. So you can see the nozzle there. I'm going to see if I can push it through with my screwdriver so we can get a good clean on it. Yep. There we go. So there's the nozzle, and there's the nozzle has all these little tiny holes in it and a hole in the end. I usually use these little torch cleaners to find a little tiny one that's going to fit in these holes. Let's see if this one will work. Yep, that one works fine there. Actually go a bit bigger. Yeah, I can go bigger, even try one of these with a little... Oh, this might be the biggest one. Let's see how it does. All right, so that's good. That one's nice. That's nice and clear. Another hole here. Clean that out. Make sure that's clear. And then we have these little tiny holes in the sides of the nozzle. Actually, you can see through them. They look pretty clean, but what I do, if they're not clean, I take a wire brush, and they've got nice thin wire that's pretty stiff, and I use just one wire to poke my way through those holes. Let's see how we do today. It's through, yeah, all the way through. That's good. The next one, all the way through. That's good. So I have both of those. I'll go on the other side. There's another 90 degrees away. There's another set of holes. That one's good. Put it in this hole. It's a little tricky sometimes, obviously. Yep, see it goes all the way through. All right, and we'll check this end down here. You can actually, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see all the way through that, so that's nice and clean. But while I've got it, I'm going to just make sure it's nice and clean. Okay, so that is good. The nozzle is good to go. Now we go to this little jet. There should be a tiny hole in here. Let's see if we can get something to go in there. Yep. All right, see, it goes all the way through. Let's see if I can get one of these torch cleaners to go through there. Not quite. Maybe I can screw it on here. You don't want to make these things bigger than they need to be because that'll mess up how much fuel gets delivered. Let's try this one. Alright, so all the torch cleans are too big, so it's going to just have to be this wire brush. But that looks good. That's nice and clear. Alright, that's good. So those are both clean. We'll put these aside. Now, we want to clean through here too. So we're going to shoot carb cleaner through there, and that should be coming out here because that's the main supply of fuel. This comes from the fuel tank. So let's see what happens here. I got a regular old carb cleaner, nothing fancy. And I'm going to squirt it through here, and I think it's going to come out here. Let's see what happens. Yep, perfect. All right, that's nice and clean. I'm going to shoot some through this hole. I'm not exactly sure what this hole, where it goes, but let's find out. Oh, it's coming out of this tube up here. All right, that's flowing freely. Let's shoot some out here. That's where the nozzle goes. That's a giant hole, so I can't imagine that's going to do very much. All right, so that side of the carburetor is clean, and there's no gook in here. We're looking good. All right, let's flip it over. Let's see what we got. All right, we've got the pilot jet right here. So this, I think, is for how you can provide fuel when you're idling. So, again, this is really soft metal, so I want to make sure I got my screwdriver in there good. Turn it. There we go. Comes out. Let's see what we got here. All right, we should have a hole down the middle, and we should have holes on the side. Everything looks clear. Let's see what we got here. But our nozzle cleaner's going to work in here. Our torch cleaner. Here, I think this is the smallest one. No, that's not going to fit, but it'll fit in these little holes, so that's good. It's nice and clean. I'm going to get through this one with our wire brush. Here's a nice stray. And you should be able to see it come through this hole in the side. Yep, there it is. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but so that's nice and clean. Okay, so our pilot jet is good to go. What else is there to clean here? The pilot jet came out there. Let's shoot a little carb cleaner down there. All right, we're looking nice and clean here. This carburetor actually looks great. This is I think that's controls the idle speed. You can back that screw out or bring it in to change the idle. I think underneath this cap is a thing that controls the air to fuel ratio, I think. And they put a cap on it because they don't want you to mess with it. So I'm not going to mess with it. So that's about it. Now we're going to put it back together. Well, let's clean the ball real quick. Although it doesn't look like it needs much of a cleaning. Remember, we don't want to get too much carb cleaner on the gasket because that will deform it. And we take out the drain plug so it can drain out. The carb cleaner will drain out. Oops. 'Cause, 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 'cause Yeah, maybe a couple stray pieces of stuff came out. I actually have a wire brush here too, so I can brush it a little bit. There's not much to do here. All right, that's good to go. So we'll get our drain plug back in, which is here, sitting in this dirty stuff, so I'll clean that up a little bit. Goes right in there, and there's a little rubber gasket on it. There we go. That's good. Okay, it is time to put this back together again. So first thing we're going to do is put in the nozzle. Remember this piece we took out? Oh, a little dirty sitting on the bench. Let me clean that off. Remember we opened up all the little holes in it, all the ports. So, and this long skinny end goes up. That's what's going to stick out of the top of the carburetor. So that goes in first, like this. Just drop it in. Then we put the nozzle or the main jet on top of it. Main jet goes in right there. Remember we cleaned out that little hole in the bottom. Screw that right in. This is the soft metal, so we're going to be super careful with our screwdriver. Don't want to damage it. Okay, that is good, I think. All right, that's good. Okay, now we can put the float back on. Okay, and we're going to put the needle valve right in the hole there. And then we line up this little channel with the pin here. Go. Nice little tiny tap with the, let me just push it with a screwdriver so we can get it going a little further. There we go. That is all the way in. Now we can put the bowl back on. Now, when we put the bowl back on, we want to make sure that the drain for the bowl faces out so that we can drain the carburetor without taking it completely off. So the drain's got to face out. So I know this is where the fuel goes in, and I know I can take that on and off with the carburetor still on. So I'm going to put it on this way so that this is facing the front of the outboard motor. So I know I can, I have that quite a little bit wrong. There we go. This faces the side where I can get a screwdriver in there and drain the carburetor if necessary, drain the bowl. Okay, so now I put these two little bolts back in. And I'm going to tighten one almost all the way on one side, then I'll tighten the other one almost all the way before I tighten them both up all the way. So that one is, there we go. It's in most of the way. Now I tighten up this one. Now I'm going to tighten this one all the way. That's good. Now tighten this one up all the way, and we should be compressing that gasket. That's good. Let's see if we got anything more over here. Nope, I think we're good. Okay, that's good. All right, now got to put our pilot jet back in. Remember, this is the one with all the little tiny holes in it, so that one drops right in here. Again, this is soft metal, so be careful. think it's good. All right, there you have it, a clean carburetor. Okay, now we're going to install the carburetor back on the motor here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the throttle linkage, which is this thing, and there's a hole right here in this arm. This arm controls that little valve, butterfly valve there. So we're just going to tilt it, get it through that hole, tilt it back up. There we go, it's good to go. Next, we have to remember we have this spacer and the gasket. And notice the gasket has this little ear on it, along with the spacer. That goes this way. So you don't want to confuse it and do it that way. All right, so that goes this way, and it points down. Now, I'm going to put that on the engine here, on the carburetor here. I'm going to run my bolts through this thing. This is where the choke is. I don't remember, but there are little spacers that go in here. So I'm going to put these spacers in here, these metal spacers. Go right in there. Now, keep that washer where it belongs. Bolt goes through there. Second one goes here. Keep that spacer popped out. All right. Now we're going to work it through these two holes in the carburetor. Okay. A lot of stuff you got to hold together here. Oh, I should get the choke linkage on first, shouldn't I? So here's the choke linkage. I'm going to need to tilt the carburetor to get that on. So it's going to go in this. There's a one hole in this little arm here. So let's see if I can get it in there. It's in. All right, now we're good to go. A lot of moving parts here. But you can see this is not that hard to do. It's just got to know some basic stuff. Have some patience. You can clean your carburetor. And what I found is carburetors on outboards are very similar to carburetors on lawnmowers and snowmobiles, not snowmobiles, snow blowers, etc. They're all pretty much the same. Okay, now here comes our spacer and gasket. Goes on the end of these two bolts I just put in. Two. Next, I'm going to get these two hoses to go through the holes first. So there are two hoses here. I have to go through two holes in the bottom of the outboard and go overboard. So let me get these in here first. It's a little tricky. I don't think my hand would fit in there after the carburetor's on. Second one. All right, those are both in. It was harder than you think it would be. See if we can get everything lined up appropriately. All right, I think I've got them both started. While I'm here, I'm going to attach this, put this breather hose back on the top of the choke assembly here, so that goes there. I'm going to use the socket for this. Tighten this one a little bit. Back here. Just even out the tightness. Okay, that feels good. All right, one of the last things we need to do is put the fuel line back on, which is right here. That goes right here. Move this little clamp up. Slide it up. Perfect. Okay, let's just check the choke, see if that works. Yep, choke works. Check the throttle, see if that works. All right, we're in business. Now, last thing we have to do is put the fuel tank back on. So fuel tank goes right here. Remember we took off those 3 bolts at the very beginning. Here they are with bolt with washer. Put the cowl back on. All right, there you have it. Mercury 3.5 horsepower 4-stroke engine. Just cleaned the carburetor. Not too hard of a job. Took about half an hour and not too difficult to do. So I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. And maybe you want to subscribe to the channel and press the like button. All right, thanks very much.